Welcome, everybody, to the Channel Vision Magazine webinar featuring Telesystem, which will explain to you how you can monetize your Wi-Fi network with analytics. I'm your moderator, Bruce Christian, Senior Editor of Channel Vision Magazine. Our presenter today is Sean Nace, Sales Engineer at Telesystem. And now with that, let me turn it over to Sean Nace.
Thanks, Bruce. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. As Bruce mentioned, we're here to talk about how you can monetize your Wi-Fi. So this is really changing the game, and changing the conversation from just having that Wi-Fi being a capex, or excuse me, a capex and opex for a business, to something that's going to provide real insight and create new revenue streams for our business. So I'm going to show you how this solution works, provide a case study or two, and show you what the customer is going to see or experience during this journey when they enter your business or venue, and then do a little bit of a live demo. Lastly, we'll leave some time for Q&A. So feel free at any point in time to use the chat function, the Q&A function, to ask any questions, and we'll hold them to the end. So again, we're changing the conversation here. Almost every business at this point in time has Wi-Fi in their place of business, whether you're talking about a restaurant, a retail space, a large entertainment venue like a baseball stadium or basketball arena. We all have Wi-Fi for not only our employees but our customers, and this has really become a huge expense. It's very costly to provide that managed service for our businesses. It works because we need it in place to use our handheld devices, our mobile phones, our laptops, and so forth, right? And customers need that so they can browse the internet, use social media and other things, perhaps take phone calls while they're in their place of business. But what if you can use that infrastructure that you have in place to create a new revenue stream, to engage your customers more effectively, to learn more about your customers? Large businesses across the globe are doing this, and for our partners out there, you guys should really be aware of what you can do with this solution. So what is it? Again, we're talking about a software as a service that's going to live over top of your Wi-Fi infrastructure. So over on the right here are just some of the technologies that you guys might have in your places of business, or your customers might have, from Aruba and Cisco to Meraki and Juniper Mist and so forth. It's going to live over almost any of the newer Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6 business or enterprise grade Wi-Fi solutions out there. I have a list of probably 30 or 40 different technologies in this hardware compatible devices section that we can always talk about afterwards, but it's going to live over top of that wireless access point. So again, it's licensed per access point per month. And it's just very similar to how we're licensing our UCaaS solutions or SIP trunks, right? It's per user per month, and there's a monthly recurring revenue that our partners are going to be paid a residual on. So the cost might be between $50 and $60 per access point, all in, when Telesystem provides the access point, or about $25 a month if you wanted to layer that over top of an existing infrastructure. We're also going to be able to connect that solution with your existing CRMs, right? Because part of the goal of this solution, the engagement analytics, is to, again, glean information about our visitors, like how often are my visitors coming? What time of day are they coming? Are they a male versus female guest? What's their age range? What's their like and dislike based on their social media history? So I want to gather all that information and connect it to my existing CRM, whether that's Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics. I can also engage customers when they come to my venue by way of texting with Twilio. So I can, welcome a customer. Hey, John, thank you for coming today. I can send them a text and so forth when they come into my business. So it's about engaging and learning about our customers more effectively, and then targeting them with very pinpoint marketing, as opposed to broad strokes and so forth. It's taking the guesswork out of our marketing, really. So who's a typical customer? It could be almost any business out there, but I think the sweet spots really are hospitality. So hotels and resorts, casinos. We have a case study that we'll talk about Hollywood Casino in Columbus, Ohio. restaurants and retail locations. They're great opportunities there, and then large venues, whether that's a baseball stadium, football, basketball, and so forth. We'll talk about a little bit about Miami Heat being a customer. So again, there's a lot of opportunity there for you guys, for our partners, and let's get into it a little bit. So I've already talked about the alliances on the left there with the technologies that it'll work with, right? Again, think about any Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6 business class or enterprise grade solution, but then look at the customers who are using this, right? Again, I've already mentioned the Miami Heat, being a customer. That's a huge, large, basketball venue, an NBA franchise that's learning more about their customers and getting a lot of benefits from their marketing, to that audience. McDonald's, Walmart, Michael Kors, large businesses throughout the country, throughout the world, for that matter, are definitely joining this or adopting this solution. Now, I mentioned that this is a software as a service, so it's licensed, right? Like almost anything else that we're selling technology-wise. But there's 3 different licensing options that we have available to us. Most of what I'll focus on today is really the analytics, the enterprise license, we call it. This is the way that you're going to, again, elicit feedback from your customers, garner or gather intel about those consumers so you can change your marketing or tailor your marketing messages more effectively. There's also a license that provides the location, basically where you are geographically within a space based on where you're moving throughout the space. So I can learn more about, okay, I have more customers congregating in this space and within my venue. So maybe I want to adjust my signage and so forth. So it's literally learning where you are within that space based on the positioning and the beacons between the access points and your wireless device. And then finally, there's a wayfinding. Now, this is a very niche solution, but it's definitely being adopted by large healthcare organizations throughout the country, because what wayfinding does is it helps you to have pinpoint accuracy and navigate within a space. So for instance, maybe you've made a doctor's appointment at a hospital system and you need to get to the east wing on suite 202. Well, now this application is going to use the combination of wireless access points and Bluetooth beacons and the healthcare organization's app to give you this this blue dot navigation. So literally step by step, it knows where you are within a foot or two. And then it's going to help you get from the 3rd floor parking garage over to the east wing of the building and on the 2nd floor to the doctor to, for your dermatologist appointment, wherever the case might be. It's going to help you navigate down that west bank of the elevators, across this corridor, down this escalator to that doctor's appointment so you can make it there on time. It creates a better patient experience, which obviously leads to sometimes more funding for health organizations. And more so than anything, it also even helps offset missed appointments and obviously lost revenue for the organization. So wayfinding is another solution out there. I mentioned case studies. We're going to talk about a couple case studies here. One of the big wins for Telesystem last year or this year was Hello Casino. We first deployed our managed Wi-Fi solution at the Columbus, Ohio location, where it was 250,000 square feet. We had many access points deployed throughout that venue. The customer obviously, they're a casino, they're a gaming facility where they wanted to provide Wi-Fi for their guests. It had to be completely separate from the corporate network. So we provide separate infrastructure, separate interconnections, wireless access points, even switches and cabling for that Wi-Fi solution. But the casino wanted to learn more about their guests. They wanted to be able to engage them more effectively. So when you log into the Wi-Fi, it's not just here's your Wi-Fi network and the guest SSID. No, they're getting the guest's contact information. They're getting their email addresses so that they can learn more about that guest's visits to the casino. They can learn more about what they're doing within the venue and so forth. And again, target them more effectively. So the Hello Casino was a great win for us. We actually provided not only the Wi-Fi infrastructure, but the analytics software over top of it. you'll see right here, one of the ways that Telesystem shines not only in the Wi-Fi and engagement business, but the Wi-Fi is that we provide completely white glove solution, including this Wi-Fi design where we're optimizing the RF coverage for that space. We'll take into account the height of the ceiling. So we had 30-foot 30-foot ceilings in that space. We had obstacles, including concrete walls and cinder block walls and metal walls throughout that space. So we outline all of that using this design tool that we have, this software that helps optimize the coverage, so that you can see here on the right, we had this this drawing from the customer on the left, the floor plan on the left, that we superimpose wireless access points of a specific type for the customer. And then we show the customer what the coverage is going to look like based on the placement of those devices and the number of those devices. So we, again, are taking the guesswork out of even our Wi-Fi deployment. So this was a great win for us and the casino. It's been so successful that they're adopting it at other properties throughout the Midwest, including Dayton and Youngstown and so forth. It's been a great success story. Another brand that I think many of us are familiar with in the audience might be Planet Fitness, right? So I'm a Planet Fitness customer. I've used them. I've been going there for years now, but especially during COVID, I think the way that they're engaging with their customers is very insightful, right? So when you connect to the Wi-Fi, I mean, I'm one to connect to the Wi-Fi because I want to stream music when I'm using the treadmill or whatever machine's there. So I'm going to connect to the guest Wi-Fi. When we connect to the Wi-Fi at Planet Fitness, the company is engaging with their customers. They're saying, hey, you might want to mask up for protection, or we can educate them and can let the customer know that, hey, we've closed down every other treadmill to provide better social distancing. We can educate and say, look, we have private instructors for this sort of class, the spin class, or the stepping class, or the whatever class at this time of day. We can reward customers by providing discounts on apparel, free drinks, or whatever the case might be, free waters and sports drinks, that is, to help bring customers back and make them feel good about doing business with Planet Fitness. And of course, we can survey our customers during or after their visits to see how we did. Was my facility clean? Were the employees friendly? Were we wearing PPE and so forth? So again, the information that we're gleaning from this is not only going to help us engage our customers, but it's learning about their habits. And we're also finding ways to improve our business. So again, the solution here, I think it's applicable to so many different businesses. And at this point, I'm going to hop over here to do a little bit of a live demo so you guys can learn more about the solution. Now, as with any technology at this point, and by the way, I forgot to mention this. This is a technology that we're selling, but the audience for this is a little bit different, right? Everything that I've just told you here, we're selling a software as a service, but the whole point of this is to glean more about our business and to change the way we're the messaging, the marketing messaging that we might have with our customers. We're engaging with customers. So this sale is really not positioned for the chief technology officer, the chief information officer, or the IT manager. We're actually, in this case, we're going to be engaging the chief marketing officer of an organization, the social media manager of that place of business. So it's a little bit of a game changer in a couple ways there, even our audience. But in this case, like the social media manager, as opposed to IT staff, is going to use this single pane of glass, right? Like anything else that we're used to selling in the marketplace, whether it's SD-WAN or UCaaS, our customers want a single pane of glass to manage that experience or manage that solution. This is no different right here. So we have a fictitious Acme corporation where you can see we have Acme fast food, Acme hospitals. This could just as easily be a restaurant franchise like Panera Bread or Buffalo Wild Wings, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 venues throughout a given geographic area, or perhaps throughout the world. If I have multiple venues within an area, I can quickly hover over those those thumbnails real fast, and I can see that right now I have 87 people connected to this location in Southern California, or this one in Los Angeles. I have 121 people that are online right now and 1,214 in the past day. I can see which access points are licensed and so forth. So again, I have a nice snapshot view of my overall solution. But down here below, I can actually also see in a bar graph format how many are connected to each venue. So I'm going to hop into Acme Fast Food here. And now what we're going to be doing is just looking at the first dashboard, our standard dashboard, which shows, again, how many users are currently online. So how many people are in my space. Now, this is going to take into account not only people that have authenticated to my wireless access points, but also those who have just come in. So think about it. If my device is powered on, even if I'm on airplane mode, I can ping it. So I'm going to detect if a person has come into my place of business, whether they've connected to my Wi-Fi or not. If you have Wi-Fi enabled, all the better. I'm going to know more about that device. But again, as long as your smartphone is powered on, I'm going to know if you're in my place of business. So I can see that count of visitors is very accurate, more so than I would probably have with other solutions out there. I can see the visitor counts over a period of time, in this case, over the past 30 days. Of those visitors, I could see the demographics, whether they were male or female. I can see their age, if that was disclosed to me, whether they were under 18, 18 to 24, and so forth. And why is this information important? Well, to a chief marketing officer of a large franchise like Michael Kors or Walmart, they really need to know about the information about their guests. They can, again, tailor their messaging to those guests according to those demographics, that information, male versus female, the age range, and so forth. And maybe they can change that marketing message to get more people of a different segment, those that are 45 to 54, for example, where you see a low visitor count. I could see my busy time of day. Now, many times I've had partners say, well, my customers in the restaurant business, or my retail business, they already know what my busy times of day are based on my point of sale system. I know that I'm getting a lot of business and a lot of sales at this time of day. But again, you have to take into account that we're learning about visitor counts versus on those who have authenticated and those who haven't authenticated. So maybe even transaction business, I'm learning about my busiest traffic times. I can learn about different connection methods. So again, this is very unique here. We're not just going to provide a guest Wi-Fi and allow customers to simply sign on. We're going to give them single sign-on experiences using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, so that I can learn more about my guests, where I can have them fill out a registration form where they have to provide their name and email address and so forth, right? I can learn about new versus repeat guests. I'm learning a lot about my customers so I can be more effective in the way that I'm engaging them, right? So that's just one of the dashboards that you might see here. Another, I think that it's pretty cool. This is probably along the lines of the Planet Fitness example here. This is something that I can certainly relate to. During the early days of COVID, I was using this, the customer-facing portion of this that they pushed out. So they would actually publish a lot of details to their customers. Planet Fitness, that is telling us, what the expected visitor count was, what the density score was based on time of day. So you can see right here, the low density score of a 1 means that there's fewer guests at the gym at certain times of day, and I can see the footfall trends based on time of day. I can see there's currently only 3 people in that venue, whereas there have been 66 visitors up to this point of the day, right? So again, I can publish the information to my customers, and for me as a gym member, that was vital during COVID when I was very worried about it during the beginning, and I can just see, okay, the time of day, or right now it's 10 o'clock. And I can see there's only 3 people there, or the trends are showing me that there's fewer than 10 people at this time of day. So I'm going to go at 10 o'clock at night because Planet Fitness has made this information available to me. That was a great bit of information. But I can also survey my customers, as I mentioned here. So in the dashboard now, I can see, okay, I'm getting an NPS score of 4 overall, which is great. But I can see that most of my customers are finding that they're feeling safe during their visit. overwhelmingly, most of them are finding that my environment was very clean, but I'm seeing that maybe less customers are satisfied with the employees wearing their PPE. So again, the survey is a great way to engage customers, and we can use this tool to do so. And just like we're all used to in telecom, the NPS score, so I'm getting an overall score of 84, which is, a great, great performance overall. I mentioned that the way that we're having customers sign on be a little bit different. So this is unique too. Again, we're not just going to provide a guest network, guest SSID for Planet Fitness, and then allow you to sign on automatically. At least the first time that you sign on, you want them to provide some sort of information, whether that's a member number, or you can have them create the single sign-on experience. So I can have them sign on with Facebook, with Twitter, with Instagram. Why do I want to do that? Because think about all the information that I'm going to gather about their social media history. What do they like? What other products do they like? What do they not like? Where else are they visiting? What other competitive products or industries do they also follow? If I'm going to have them sign in manually with a form fill, I'm going to get their first and last name, their email address, maybe even their birth date. And again, I can also have them sign on to or agree to my terms and conditions, which is going to say that, yes, I'm gathering your details. So again, the sign-on is also unique to this, and it's definitely something that you want to take advantage of. Now, some customers might ask, it's like, hey, I don't really have the expertise to create HTML images. Well, we can help you out with that with the professional services fee, of course, a one-time charge for for that assistance. You can create multiple splash pages, even maybe one per country, per venue. You can even adjust your splash pages based on the weather outside. So I'll talk a little more about the customization there. And that customization, that word is very important, because again, you're customizing the experience, you're customizing the messages and tailoring it to the needs of your business and the demographic of the visitor. I can also create different ways that I'm going to engage customers once they've connected too. So once you do connect to Wi-Fi, there's this experience journey that I'll talk a little more about, but I can also engage them immediately, right? So I can send e-shots, I can send text messages and so forth when they connect to my Wi-Fi. So for example, somebody connects to my restaurant, my Acme fast food restaurant, and I can send them an e-shot, which would be an email blast to the email address that they've used in that sign-in folder or their profile from LinkedIn or Facebook, right? And I can send them that e-shot for the coupon, this buy one, get one free offer, perhaps at the very beginning, as soon as they connect, or I can send it the following date. They're already at my venue. They're probably going to be buying some food right now. So do I want to send that coupon right now? Probably not, but I can send it the following day, right? And it continue, and I can set whatever cadence I want. I can send it, once a week. I can send it indefinitely. I can add different rule sets on who's going to receive this coupon too. So maybe if the age of my visitor is less than 10 years old, I'm not going to send them that coupon. But if they're over a certain age, like over 18, I can do that. I can have it be if they've only visited less than one time. If they've visited many times, I can maybe not send that coupon as often. So again, I can tailor the way that I'm sending this messaging to my customer. So that's just one example of the ways that we can engage a customer. Another might be SMS, right? So I mentioned that we can text our customers using Twilio. So if we integrate this with Twilio, of course, we're going to integrate this with our CRM like Salesforce or Dynamics, where we're gathering this intel, right? But I can also engage the customer via text. So I can say, hey Mike, thank you for stopping by. How about a free coffee on your next visit? Just use this coupon code VIP10. Again, I can send that right away. I can send it the following date. I can also find out here how many people have opted in to that particular coupon, that particular discount code. So I'm learning a lot about my customers, and I'm engaging them in more effective ways to bring in new revenue streams, right? So again, I hope that makes sense to you guys. And I also mentioned the experience journey, that being very unique to the solution right here. So we have this logic flow, the way that customers are connecting. Again, we're not just going to allow them to connect and automatically. We're going to make them connect using some sort of form fill or a social media, hopefully a social media login. But then after they connect, of course, I can send those e-shots that I showed you, but I can also tailor the experience on all these variables over here. So if I have a visitor that's already been to my venue and they're of a certain age or of a certain gender, I can play a certain media or maybe have them land in a certain section of my website. If the visitor, if it's the visitor's birthday, I can say, hey, happy birthday, Sean. Thank you for coming today. Here's a dessert on us, something to that effect, right? I can completely customize that access journey, what customers are going to see after they connect based on all these variables here on the right, even the weather, right? So again, I mentioned splash pages. I can have a splash page that might show, hot steaming coffee or a hot soup at a restaurant when the weather is cold outside. Or on the flip side, if it's warm out, I'm going to show maybe some cold iced tea or ice cream or something like that on my splash page. Again, all sorts of ways that you can tailor your message and customize what customers are going to see to be more effective as a business. What does it look like when we're gathering information, right? So let's take a look at the fictitious list of visitors that I've had to my organization. Right now, I'm looking at visitors over the past 30 days, right? But I can just as easily customize that. I can look at the past week, the past 2 weeks, 60 days, 90 days, or put in a custom time range of the past 2 days if I wanted to. But you can see over this period of time here, I've had 85 visitors over the past 30 days or so. And I can quickly hop in, take a look at Will Smith here. I can see that his preferred sign-in method has been Facebook. That's the way he's authenticated to my Wi-Fi. I can see that, wow, in this case, he's only really been to one venue, but if he's been to multiple venues, it would actually show me he's been to Los Angeles and El Segundo and so on in the Southern California area. I can see how many times that he's been here. He's been to this location 100 different times over that period, which is great. I can see when he first came to my business, which was June 6, 2016, I can see he last visited, well, it looks like today. All very important information about a business. I can see what he likes on social media because, again, he's connected through Facebook. So I can see, again, think about him a restaurant or a retailer, and I can see what other products that he likes. Like he likes Coca-Cola. So if I'm a restaurant and I don't have any affiliation or sponsoring from Coke or Pepsi, maybe I see that 90% of my guests, for instance, like Coca-Cola. Well, what am I going to put on the soda fountain? I'm going to put Coca-Cola, right? If I'm a retailer, a sports store, for example, and I see that he likes Nike and Under Armour and other types of apparel, well, that's what I'm going to have available to my customers or create signage around, right? If I'm a restaurant and I find out that the vast majority of my guests like the Rolling Stones and Pearl Jam and so forth, that's the kind of music I could stream overhead for my guests to hear in that particular venue. So again, I'm learning a lot about my customers, whether they're individual or the preponderance of the guests' visits. So I can look at Will Smith and Jen Smith and everybody else's visit over that period of time and gathering that information all together as one. So I can actually show you what that looks like right here as I go to analytics, and then I come down here to social interests under visitors. This is just going to take a second or two to load because think about it, I'm gathering the intel on all of my guests over the past 30 days. So again, bear with me while this is pulling up the charts here. Now that we have that data, I can see again, based on social interests from my guests who have signed in using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even LinkedIn, I can see what my guest likes. So I'm looking at interest here, right? And I can see that two numbers jumped out. It looks like the biggest sections in that graph showed me that 20% of my guests like coffee and 24% like cooking. Well, if I'm, say, a bookstore, right? Thank God, independent bookstores are really coming back into the fold here. It's really becoming mainstream now again. If I'm a bookstore and I find out that 24% of my guests like cooking, well, what am I going to put in the front window display there? I'm going to we're going to display books about cooking. I'm going to display books about food and wine and travel and things that are going to make sense to entice those guests or to get them to come into my store. I'm also going to have books like this in my high traffic areas. In addition to the bestsellers, of course, I'm going to have books about cooking and food and wine and travel in that in that high traffic area as they walk down the halls, and then the books about nonfiction in the back corner where, people are less apt to buy that, right? Coffee is another great example. If you're a retailer, you want customers to stay in your venue longer, right? The longer that they're dwelling in your store, perhaps the more money that they're going to spend, and of course, the happier that they're going to be, right? So, if my guests like coffee, I can of course put books out about coffee, but maybe I can offer free coffee or discounted coffee. It's a very cheap thing to do, and if your health department allows it in your local municipality, maybe I can, offer coffee for free or 25 cents, to get the guests to stay in the venue. And, or maybe I can create a new revenue stream with a cafe and offer high-end coffees like lattes and espressos and cappuccinos along the lines of a Starbucks to bring in a new revenue stream for my business, right? That could be great for guests. So again, I'm learning lots of information about my customers to be more effective in my marketing, my messaging. Maybe I am a Buffalo Wild Wings franchise or a restaurant, a sports bar. And, it's the weekend, right? So on Saturdays at this time of year, I'm going to be showing college football, right? And on Sundays, I'm going to have the NFL ticket, so they can watch their favorite NFL team. But what else am I going to show on those other, 14 screens that I have throughout my location? Well, if I'm finding out, this is all fictitious data, right? I'm seeing that everything is pretty much the same, but if I'm finding that a lot of my guests also like English Premier League football, well, I can put that on Saturday or Sunday mornings. If they like MMA or golf, I'm going to have that up on some of my screens, right? So again, you can be more effective and more personal than you would otherwise. It's taking the guesswork out of your marketing, really. Music, I mentioned this before too, but if I'm finding out that 90% of my guests like classic rock or Pearl Jam, well, I'm going to play that message, that music from Sirius or XM or Pandora overhead instead of the local radio station, for example. So again, I'm learning a lot of information about my customers. So I hope this all makes sense for you guys. It's really changing the game in a lot of ways, right? We're engaging our customers. So we're texting them, we're emailing them, we're eliciting information from customers. They're a male versus female guest. They're of a certain age. And how are we doing that, right? So I didn't even mention that too, but it's the rewards programs that are really doing that more effectively for customers. If you're just gonna pop into a retail shop, many customers are probably less apt to just sign in, right? They don't need, unless it's a very large store like a Costco or a Whole Foods where they're they have to connect because there's dead spots from cell coverage. Maybe they're not going to do it, but if you can offer them a discount to sign up for your rewards app or something like that, they're going to get 15 to 20% off, so they can quickly sign into Wi-Fi and download the app. Well, then they're probably going to do that, and then you're going to be again eliciting all this detail and learning all this information about your customer. And in other times, there's certain demographics of customers, certainly younger users, they're just going to connect to the Wi-Fi regardless because they always need to remain connected. So there's different social habits based on the age of our visitors, or different ways to entice them with rewards programs to get them to connect. So that hopefully that answers that question. Now I'm going to show you another thing that's really cool, and that's everything I've showed you so far is really about the analytics, right? The enterprise license and the information that we're gathering about a customer. But there's also presence, right? So presence is where people are moving throughout your space, right? This is also really cool. So again, the presence is all determined based on your geo positioning in relation to the wireless access point and or perhaps the Bluetooth beacon if you have them in place for your business. So again, this doesn't have to take into account guests who have just authenticated to my wireless access points, those who have signed into my Wi-Fi, but it also takes into account people who are just in my space. Remember, if your phone's on, if your Wi-Fi is on, if your Bluetooth is turned on, I'm able to ping your device. I'm able to see that somebody is in my space. So when I just hit play there, again, this could be a typical floor plan for, say, a grocery store or whatever the case might be. I can see who's connected and who's not and who's in my space. So where are my high traffic areas? If I'm a retailer or or something, I'm going to adjust my signage to the most and move my product around to the highest traffic areas within that space. That might make sense. I'm also able to, again, see who's authenticated and see, who might be within my space and learn about their habits. So I can click over here on this blue dot if it'll work with me. Come on, internet. Once I were to connect to this blue dot, it should tell me who that guest is and what kind of device they're on, how many times they've been to that venue and so forth. There we go. So I can see that, this blue dot over here is Enrique Iglesias. He's a 46-year-old male versus this blue dot down here that might be Tamara Hosni and so forth. These other gray dots, I can just see that they're a smart device of some kind. They're a internet-enabled smartphone that's a Sony Ericsson device or an Apple device or whatever the case may be, a BlackBerry. Wow, that's unusual. So again, I can see where guests are moving without that space, and I can layer on other things that might be important for my business. So perhaps I want to create some sort of geofencing. So depending on where a guest might be within that space, I can actually engage them based on where they're in that space. So perhaps I'm a Whole Foods, I could actually send them an email with a coupon when they come to that store. But I can also email them with a coupon about the produce that might be on sale when they're in this aisle over here. Again, I can engage more effectively based on where that space might be. Perhaps I'm a healthcare organization. I want to create a geofence to track my assets or to work with my camera system so that I can make sure that patients in a dementia ward don't exit a certain area. So there's actually an integration with Meraki cameras that's going to be coming about here that I can talk to you guys more about as that product becomes more mature. But just the presence alone is very effective for certain businesses to know where people are congregating, to see how many people are coming into a venue, how many people are there at a given time for emergency purposes and so forth, or planning your visits, like in the case of Planet Fitness and so forth. So again, the presence solution is very intriguing. It's one that a lot of customers are certainly wanting to learn more about. So at this point, I think I've talked long enough, and I'm going to open it up for some Q&A here. So I'm going to stop my screen share and turn it back over to Bruce. And actually, I forgot to share one last thing. I forgot to share you our contact info. So if you guys have any questions following this presentation, you'll get a copy of the presentation. But if you want to reach out to Telesystem, of course, you probably know your channel manager, but as a sales engineer, we're probably the most effective at training you guys on how to sell this product and how to be successful with our Wi-Fi engagement analytics. So you can reach out to me or one of the members of our team, Ryan Timms, Bill Somerville, and of course, Brian Bookman, the manager of channel sales at Telesystem. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Bruce here. I think we have some questions in the Q&A. I see we have at least four questions that came through.
Yeah, we do. Thank you very much, Sean. That was very informative. And I think one of the questions right away is something that I started thinking about as you were going through that. And one of our attendees wants to know if there are any privacy concerns with all of this.
Yeah, there certainly could be privacy concerns, but if you remember when I showed you the form fill, at the bottom of the form fill, when a customer connects with either the manual way or Facebook or Twitter, I have an end user licensing agreement that I'm stating the terms and conditions of the Wi-Fi access for my customer, making them aware that their data is being used by this business, right? So yes, that it might be a privacy concern for some customers, but as long as you're making them aware with the terms and conditions of your end user licensing agreement, then you're definitely covered there. To take that a step further, some large customers, some really large big box and big name retailers like Walmart are using this. And this data, once you have the customer agree to those terms and conditions, they own that data. So if you think about it, if you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of guests across all your locations visiting your venues throughout the country, that data is very vital to certain organizations, maybe Google, maybe Amazon. So you can actually, sell that data to other organizations if you see that that's to your benefit.
Okay.
Bruce.
Yeah. Now, one of your slides, the end-to-end slide, showed the way that this product can connect, engage, educate, reward, and survey customers. And you definitely spoke about connecting, engaging, and rewarding. I want to know if you want to tell us a little bit more about educating and surveying customers with this product.
Sure. Yeah, I totally skipped over the surveying, or at least I somewhat did. I think I showed the CSR dashboard in the case of Planet Fitness, where we had the results of the survey. But one of the ways that we can engage with customers is to send them a micro survey, right? A quick survey. Hey, how am I doing today? Was my food warm? Was it, did I get it in a timely manner? Was my venue clean and so forth? Did my guests, I go to Moe's Southwest Grill sometimes with my son, and one of the questions about their venue is, did we greet you when you came to the door? So yeah, you can absolutely create surveys using this software, and they can be tailored to your customers' needs. The cadence and the timing of the survey is completely up to you. As I showed with some of those other examples there of the e-shots or the SMS, it's when do you want to survey them is completely up to you. Either as soon as they walk in the door, after they've been there for X number of minutes, the following day, the following week, and so forth. So yeah, surveying is certainly part of the analytics software.
Okay, and educating the same way?
Oh yeah, educating. I'm sorry, I skipped over that. Educating would be in the form of what? It could be in the form of a video. It can be in the form of an e-shot, like an email. So I mentioned, the customer journey, or the logical the logical connection flow. When a guest comes into my venue, they signed in. Remember, I mentioned that you can customize anything the customer sees based on their age, first visitor, last visitor, birthday, the weather, and so forth. So as part of that engagement, as part of that customer experience journey, I can show them a video, even as part of their experience after they authenticate to the Wi-Fi. I can show them a quick little video, like, here's what my business is doing to help improve our social distancing, or help improve our response to COVID, or maybe it's just educating them about, okay, from Planet Fitness, I can tell them about the what I have personal trainers available, or what classes I have available to my customers on that given day. So yeah, education is absolutely part of it, but that's the way that you would do it.
Okay, thank you. Can a customer see the detail for everyone entering the premises, or only for those who are connected to the same Wi-Fi?
Well, it's up to you what you want your customers to see. In the case of Planet Fitness, they just they gave you the trends, right? To give a customer real-time information would be very difficult, right? You'd have to be logged into some sort of app that would have an API that works with the access points there, and that would probably be pretty costly to enable. But what you can share with customers might be the data based on the trends of customer visits and so forth. So it's up to you what you want your customers to see, but some of that is depending on your technology, your applications, and so forth that you're using in conjunction with this software.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sean, during your demonstration, it was quite interesting. There was a lot of stuff there. So how friendly would you consider the interface?
I consider the interface to be extremely user-friendly because I've been using it for a while. But as part of the implementation, I mean, Telesystem, I completely forgot to mention this. Telesystem really prides itself on being, white glove in our approach to delivering a service. So, as part of the implementation for this, every single implementation is really tailored to your business needs. Just because you're a restaurant or retailer doesn't mean your implementation for Michael Kors is going to be the same as the Gap or American Eagle or whatever business you might own. Same goes with restaurants. A sports bar might be different than fine dining, or Buffalo Wild Wings might be different than Panera, right? So every single implementation is tailored, and you work with what we call a customer success manager. So instead of just an implementation manager who tells you the dates and times when we're going to be out there to place this equipment, there's no equipment involved, right? It's just software. So we're really tailoring the implementation of this solution for your business. So that customer success manager is going to work with you for X number of hours, depending on the revenue involved with it. And if you want something over and above that, we can do so for additional fees, like creating those, perhaps those HTML images that you might need. But yes, we absolutely will train you guys on how to use the tool and how to tailor it to your business needs and those of your customer.
Okay. It looks like we have one final question. Is there a minimum number of users? Or what is that?
Yeah, so again, we have to bear in mind that this solution is priced per access point per month, right? So, whether you're going all in with Telesystem's Wi-Fi, or we're providing the infrastructure and the access point, or if you're just going to have this live over the top of your existing access point or access points, right? We always want plural, the more the better. But yeah, there is no minimum at this time. I mean, certainly you could, if you wanted a proof of concept, we can probably work with you in that to get it working on a handful of access points for a venue, but you have to have it licensed on the access points that are serving the customer. So just licensing one access point, if you're a Costco or a larger retailer, wouldn't really be effective, right? So, the customers are going to be moving around from access point to access point as they venture throughout your space. So you definitely need to license more than one for large venues for sure. Or if it's a small retailer, maybe one would work, I guess. So I hope that answered the question.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. That's a lot of great information, Sean. And thank you very, very much. That's going to wrap up today's webinar. Our thanks to Telesystem sales engineer, Sean Nace. Before we go, I want to remind you that by attending this webinar, you automatically are enrolled in the Channel Vision Webinar Rewards Program, which makes you eligible to win any of our monthly prize drawings. For information on the program and to see what kinds of prizes you can win, visit our website, channelvisionmag.com/webinar rewards. And remember, you can access this webinar and all other Channel Vision productions on demand by visiting our website at channelvisionmag.com. And now from all of us at Channel Vision Magazine and from Telesystem, thanks for attending and have a safe and prosperous day.